Well, hey everyone, I appreciate you being patient. And War Eagle, it's been about a month since we had the last opportunity to get together. And I do want to thank you all again for the press conference, the questions, and looking forward to answering more questions now. We've finalized our staff, and we'll talk about a few highlights with the coaching staff today. And you'll have questions on that, we'll answer it. But our latest addition and last spot in our full-time position, Bert Watts from Memphis. And Bert will coach our outside linebackers and will be our special teams coordinator. A little history on Bert goes back to our connection when he was at Fresno State and was a defensive coordinator. I admired his work. We got a chance to compete against him. Did a tremendous job. And his opportunity to move on to Memphis and that experience and with some of the recruiting that he's been able to do, I thought would be a great fit. In the conversations that we had, there was no question about how he fits into this staff and to be a part of this program and his desire to be at Auburn. And I mentioned that in the press conference, that we were looking for not just players but coaches that wanted to be a part of Auburn football and that were going to fit and we're going to be able to do the things as far as development with our players, connection with our players, and certainly the recruiting piece was a major factor for the decisions we made on our staff. And what we've been doing over the last month is focusing on the culture, meeting with our players, getting a chance to build those relationships. Not every single one of them to this point, but working towards that, focusing on recruiting, and then getting our developmental plan in place with our strength staff as we get started this next Monday, full go with our 8 hours and begin that process moving forward. As far as the staff, I just kind of want to go back through them. Jeff Pittman, our head strength coach, was the first guy that was announced. That's a part of our staff, and Jeff brings a wealth of experience and knowledge in the strength program and development area and has designed and put together programs that I've been able to see in the past. Actually, I've experienced myself as a player, and so I know what these guys are about to get ready for and the type of work they're going to have to put in to be successful. But a great developer, great with process, great with technique, and certainly is the foundation of what we're trying to build here at Auburn with our football program. Mike Bobo, he and I have known each other, go back to 2011. Now, that was our personal relationship prior to that. I always admired what he had done at Georgia and the things that he had done with his quarterbacks and how he developed those players. And when I was at Texas, he was at Georgia. We got a chance to get together and build that relationship. And here we are today. I think the philosophies that he and I both have at the quarterback position, as far as the offensive philosophies, those mesh, and then what we're trying to do now to blend those ideas and bring this offense to Auburn, all right, that we want to create. Derek Mason, defensive coordinator. Derek Mason, high energy, great coach, great personality, great connector. And he and I go back to a few years ago on vacations. Had a chance to spend a couple vacations together, get to know each other, my wife and his wife, and really just sharing philosophies. And so the connection began there. No one knows you're going to be in a position like this to have a chance to work together, but certainly excited about what he brings, his leadership. And as I've seen right now, just his work in progress with our defensive staff has been tremendous. Will Friend, offensive line, huge area for us, getting those guys up front, developed. Have always enjoyed the work he's done with his players and the way that he's, from the outside looking in, has been able to help those guys establish an identity on the offensive side, especially with the offensive line. I've admired that and getting around him. Good guy to work with, good person, brings a lot of value there. Zach Etheridge, our corners coach. And Zach, one of the things about Zach, when I talked to Dana Holgerson at Houston, had nothing but great things to say. And I've known Dana, and I know how he develops his coaches. And Zach did a tremendous job, tremendous reputation, recruiter. And as I got to get to know him, obviously him as a person, first class in everything that he's done that I've been a part of. Happens to be an Auburn alum. That was a bonus. And then also understands what it takes to win championships, as he was a part of the 2010 national championship team. And we know his story. We know the perseverance, toughness, grit that he showed through his time here. But one thing, when we had a chance on Sunday to get around our players and do introductions, introduce our families, introduce the coaches that were here at the time, it was very apparent when he got in front of the team and addressed them with the War Eagle, and the War Eagle was addressed back. And he was able to communicate to them not only his excitement to be back here at his alma mater, but also really what it means to be an Auburn Tiger. And I know this, I don't know every single word he said, I just know for those 3 or 4 minutes that he spoke, the hair on the back of my neck stood up, and certainly he brought it for every guy in that room, and everybody was on the edge of their seat, everybody standing up was leaning forward, and it was very clear when he left, what it means to be an Auburn Tiger and how much passion he has for this program. So I can't wait to get him out there and get around our guys more, get him on the field, because he brings exactly what this Auburn family is all about to this program. Coach Williams, Cadillac Williams, did a tremendous job when we had a chance to talk football and talk about Auburn, but also just his development as a coach, where he wants to go, where he sees himself, and then also fitting into this style of offense and coaching that running back position, which is huge, all right, with our success that we want to have moving forward. Again, in front of the team, talking with the guys, the energy, the reception that he got. He's a guy that everyone knows played here, sacrificed, did many things to be a part of the success of this program, obviously went on and played at the next level, did a tremendous job, but to be back here, giving back to this program in that position, and I think right now being around him, just excited to be a part of something new. He's been very receptive, done a great job with the connection with our players, and just been a joy to work with him so far, and looking forward to watching him develop with this staff. Coach Schematic. Coach Schematic was our defensive coordinator at Boise State. Coach Schematic is one of the best coaches that I've seen and been around in my career, and brings a wealth of knowledge to the defensive side, understands it back to front, and is a guy that does a great job with connecting with players, and we've been able to see that so far, and I think that group of linebackers are going to be excited about what he brings to the table as far as just his detail, his technique, knowledge of the game, and certainly the experience he's had playing for national championships in the FCS, being a part of a very successful program at Boise, and then obviously having a chance to come here and bring that experience to Auburn. And he's excited. I'm excited to see him around our guys every time I do. You can tell the connection and the relationships that they're building. Brad Bedell, coaching our tight ends, was the offensive line coach at Boise State, understands the run game, understands the fronts, understands all those things that we need to be great at that tight end position, played at the next level for 7 years, knows the physicality, knows the attitude, mindset, and the things that we want to bring to that tight end room so we can play physical and we can be weapons on the field and be able to do multiple things with that position. And certainly understands the system, the offense, very detailed in his recruiting, great connector, and is a guy that with the staff I think brings a lot of energy to what it is we're doing every single day. Coach Rocker, getting a chance to get around him, really enjoyed our conversations, and great player at Auburn, bleeds orange and blue, no question about it, and certainly is a guy that with his experience, knowledge, and his approach, the way that he has dealt with players, the way that he's connected with players here, without question, is a perfect fit for what we're trying to accomplish at the D-line position. And then his knowledge and experience in our development of our defense is going to help us without question. Cornelius Williams, our wide receivers coach, got a chance to be around him, a good young coach that's been at Troy, has been here in Alabama, understands Auburn and what that stands for and what that means. All right, and it's important to him, and this was something as we had our conversations and I got to be around him, just the energy, the excitement, the opportunity to be here. I mean, this is for many of us, a dream opportunity and a chance to be at a program like this, and nobody exudes that more than him, and he's jumped in with both feet, been great in the meetings, been great around the players, and very good at recruiting, very good at connecting. And so I'm excited to watch him develop those wide receivers and work with that group. And then Burt Watts, I mentioned him. Just excited for him. He wants to be here, wants to be a part of this staff. He's excited to be at Auburn. And for all these coaches, their families, children, every one of them, this is the place to be. This is where they feel like is the next step for them to be a part of something like this. And as the staff comes together, the cohesiveness is being built. It's been awesome to watch these guys work together. And now that we've finalized the staff, have a few other positions to fill and support staff, now we can get a chance to get up and running completely and be able to start connecting with our players each and every day and start building towards the schemes, the culture, and the things that we want to do in this program. So all those coaches, all the support staff, strength coaches that we have, every single one of them, they're all excited to be here. They're all looking forward to getting our guys back here officially, back started and being around these guys every single day and start to develop this team for 2021. Just a few things looking forward. Mid-March is where we're looking at our spring practices beginning. So we have a few weeks, a month and a few weeks before we do that, but that'll be the focus. We'll get our spring game set A-Day so that we'll be prepared for that. We'll get those schedules out. But that's where we're working towards now. We got to finish up with recruiting. We got to continue to keep connecting with our players. We got to install and establish the culture and the things that we want to do schematically with our guys, and then start really diving into getting prepared for spring practice once we get through and on the other side of this signing day. So that's what's been happening. That's been the focus. For me, it's been about the culture, the recruiting, the development. That will continue, and now that we have the staff, I'm looking forward to the next phase as we shift gears into this next week. So with that, open up for questions.
First question is from Mark Murphy.
Coach, this is Mark Murphy from Inside the Auburn Tigers. I want to ask you, this is the third time you've done a transition to a new job as a head coach. Anything that you learned from the previous two that's helped you on this one? Or are there differences on this one?
Absolutely. Well, one of them is to really to go back and think about the type of people that you want to have in your program. That's number one. Start with, all right, what's the vision for the program? What do we want to accomplish? All right, we want to win championships. We want to do that consistently. We want to have guys that are here that are first class. We want to have high integrity in this program. We want to have academic excellence, all right, in this program. So you start with a goal and a vision, and you go find those people that fit within that goal and that vision, and you find great people. And to me, the difference is that takes time. All right, so a lot of times I think there's staff changes and transitions. There is a sense of urgency in everything you do, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you get to know people, not just the people that are coming in that are new, but the people that are already there, the people that are on campus, and especially at a place like Auburn, you want to get to know, all right, what is it that makes this program special? What are some of the things that we want to be aware of as we start to put together this staff that are important to this program and the beliefs that we have here? And that started with the creed, and I talked about that. But finding people and ability in all phases that fit with what it is we're trying to accomplish. And that goes for coaches, that goes for players, and I really believe that. So you want to do it right. You want to do it right the first time. You want to, you get one shot to make a first impression. And so as we work through it, some of the patience, along with the urgency, you've got to be able to manage that and do it the right way. And I certainly learned that from going to Arkansas State and really getting up and getting running. That was a big part of it, trying to get recruits in, trying to get everything done. And then going to Boise State, a little bit different transition because there was more familiarity with that program. And then to Auburn, really making sure that I had a better understanding of what the expectations are here so that we create a unified vision for what we want to accomplish, and then finding the people and the players that are going to fit that.
Thanks.
Next is Jordan Hill.
Hey Brian, Jordan Hill with Auburn News. It's been about a month since we were able to all talk, and obviously you guys have accomplished a lot since then with the staff. What has the last month been like for you as far as just the process of getting all these things settled, and what are the next few weeks look like getting ready for Saturday?
Sure. Well, I'll tell you my lifestyle. It was home at about 11:30 at night, bed, get up about 5:30, get in my office, sit at my desk, and really make phone calls and try to vet coaches, get a chance to sit and watch some film recruiting-wise with the coaches that were here on campus, trying to connect with them, FaceTiming, getting around our players as much as possible. Not every one of them, but trying to meet them, shake their hand, and be visible at times. But it's really been about getting the right people, trying to make the right connections, all right, and doing that in a way that, those first impressions are extremely important. We're not there yet. There's still a lot of connection that we have to make. There's still a lot of things that we have to do as far as getting this thing where we want it, all right, as far as just the install of the culture, the program. But having the staff here, having the strength staff here, having the right people in place, all right, and really coaching the coaches and making sure that we're all on the same page and that we're aligned with what we're doing is going to help us move further faster with our players. And I think so far, the other day it was great. Great energy up in the facility, great energy up in the coaches' office area where players are coming around. And so all those things are happening. And, it takes time, and it's never on anybody's, it's probably never quick enough for everyone. But now that we have a chance to fill out our staff, to get a few more positions, that's going to give me an opportunity now to get out and do some more things as far as what we have to accomplish with our connection piece, development piece. And that will certainly begin this next week when we get all the players together and get into our regular program that we want to install.
Next is Jason Caldwell.
Jason Caldwell inside the Auburn Tigers. Derek Mason, obviously his
Yep.
experience, a guy that done different things, 2-3-4, 4-3. How valuable is that first against the way teams play offense now, and secondly, when you take over a new roster, not knowing exactly where the pieces fit?
Well, let me say that schematically what Coach Mason has done, and let's go back even further, not even just the times we spent together in some of those vacation opportunities, but I got to witness his resume, his work when he was at Stanford. And so being at Boise State and watching what they were doing at Stanford, watching the type of defenses that he put out there, how they played, how physical they played, schematically what they were able to do, you got to be able to adjust and adapt to some of the offenses. Now you're going to face tempo offenses, two-back offenses, spread open, tempo teams. There's just a lot of variety every single week. There's going to be game plan plays that offenses use, and so the system, when you install it, you got to be able to be multiple but sound in what you're doing. And Coach Mason, as far as what he's done, his entire approach with the defensive staff is really watching the guys that we have here on this team. Let's start with what we have. Let's start with the players that we have here. Let's look at where they're going to fit. Before we decide corner safeties, nickels, linebackers, we want to see the guys that we have here. We want to see where they fit within the schemes. And that will help us with the 3-down, 4-down, and the things that we want to do from a schematic standpoint. And so I've really appreciated his approach. He brings a wealth of knowledge now. He's been a head coach. He's been a defensive coordinator. There's a maturity. There's leadership qualities about him. There's an approach that says, here's the process that we're going to use to develop this defense into what it is we want it to be. So I've been very impressed just watching him, Coach Schematic, the staff, Zach Etheridge, working together, having Coach Rocker here now, and then eventually getting Coach Watts here. And those guys, and if you look at the defensive staff, you have a defensive coordinator in Coach Mason who's been a head coach. You got a defensive coordinator in Jeff Schematic. You have a defensive coordinator in Burt Watts. So you have a lot of knowledge on that side of the ball as far as guys that have been coordinators, but all low ego guys, high output guys that can put this system together and go out there and teach it to every one of our players and make sure that they all know the details of what it is we're trying to accomplish. So Now on the offensive side, right, we're going to play each other in spring ball. So now it's getting where we're getting a few schemes in, and the offense and defensive staff rooms are right next to each other. So now the coaches are listening a little bit to what the defense and offense is doing, and that's the fun part. That's the fun part about putting things in and then being able to go compete against each other in the spring. But ultimately, just staffs working together so we can put the best systems on the field and help our guys develop and learn it.
Next is Gianna Hahn.
Hi, Gianna Harsin from AL.com. Welcome again to Auburn.
Thank you.
So I know you mentioned, you touched on the importance of recruiting in your opening press conference, and you've been really busy since then, I know, with hiring, but what have you been able to do on that front, and how are you feeling about the class of 2021 with signing day coming up?
Well, I think we've made a lot of connections, number one, and with some of these recruits, there's been some re-offers, there's been some of those type of things, right? Because we don't want to assume. I don't want to assume just because what's happened here applies to what we're doing. So we've had to make those connections. We've had to build relationships. That's really what recruiting is. And so making sure that guys understand, all right, who we are, what our expectations are, the vision for where we want to go with this program, and then how they fit in. That's been the biggest part. And that takes time. It's not only the players, but there's family members and people that are involved that we have to make connections with. But I think our staff has done a tremendous job of that. These guys understand the importance of recruiting, but they also understand the importance of recruiting the right people to fit with what we're trying to accomplish here. And just like the hiring process, that takes some time, but we've made a lot of progress. I think we're doing really well with our 21. And if you look at it, the second signing period, that'll be the first opportunity for us to sign guys on that day, but that's going to continue on all the way through spring. There's going to be more recruiting. There's going to be things that happen. There's going to be NCAA rule changes that will go into effect. So there's still a lot of work to be done. It never ends. Recruiting never ends. You just have set points where you can sign, but if you don't sign everybody at that one time, it still goes on. And the goal is to sign the right people, is to have the right players in this program, is to have the right fit for what it is we're trying to accomplish. And that goes back to that original question, just making sure that we stick to the plan that we have in place and that we do follow through on getting the right people here and making sure that we build this, especially this 21 class, that we build it the right way, we fill the needs that we need to fill, and that we have players here that are prepared and ready to go in the summertime at least for helping us in this 2021 season.
Next is Tom Green.
Hey, Bryan. Tom Green with AL.com. I know you touched on the defensive side, but with Mike Bobo on offense, just how will you guys really be handling the offensive side of the ball? How involved will you be in terms of splitting duties and play calling and all that with him?
Yeah, no question. Mike's calling the plays, and my responsibility right now is to help install and be there for the DNA of who we are on the offensive side, the things that we've done and I've been a part of, things that Coach Bobo and other coaches on our staff have been a part of. And so as you start to talk through scheme, all right, really what are some of the best things that we've all done? And it's an open discussion. That's the best part about having really good coaches together is, yes, we have a foundation. There's some non-negotiables in there, but there's a lot of things that we want to work through and try to, as we install it, be the very best that we can in those areas. So our players, as they learn it, they learn the best things that we've all learned as coaches along the way. And we're able to make it a progression. Not everything gets installed all at one time. There is a progression to what we're doing. There'll be a spring progression. There'll be a summer progression. There'll be a fall camp progression, all right, in order to get where we want to be by the time we play. And the great part, Coach Bobo, he's done this. He's been in that position for a long time. He understands systems and putting things in place and an order of how to do that. That's also my responsibility. And when it comes down to play calling and all that, we both agreed I'll call the touchdowns and he can call the other plays. So that's what we're going to do. All right. So if there's any touchdowns out there, I'll take credit for that, and then the rest of it, we'll just move the ball down the field and try to get there. But these guys have been awesome. They're working well together. we're having fun, we're enjoying it, we're able to work through some things. There's some really good, healthy arguments in there, which you should have. And to me, that's how you develop, all right, that conviction for what it is you want to do and the system you want to put in, so we can take that into the meeting rooms and share that with our players.
Next is J.G. Tate.
Hey Brian, my name is Jay Tate. I'm publisher at AuburnSports.com. Question about the transfer portal. This whole, it's kind of like a derby these days. There's an immediacy that comes to kids going in the portal, kids coming out. How are you kind of positioning yourself right now to be able to go get the kids that hit the portal, knowing what you need and what you want to get out of these players? I mean, you guys, I guess, have to sit down and kind of talk about that, right?
Yeah, that's a lot. What you just said, that's a bigger conversation there, and that takes time. First of all, identify your needs, right? What are we looking for? And if you're using the portal as an opportunity to bring players in, well, there's going to be players that are more developed, right? They're going to be players that have probably played. They're going to be players that have experience. Well, all right, it also goes back to, all right, what kind of person are we looking for to be a part of this program? That matters as well. So you gotta do the research on guys. The portal, the rules still haven't been finalized, so there's still some of that gray that the NCAA has to give us some answers on. We need to know as coaches, not just me, but we all need to know what exactly is it as far as the transfer portal, the rules, and how this is going to look. We just have to make a decision, because there are guys that are out there. There are guys that want to be a part of different programs. There are, we are going to recruit. We're going to make sure we're getting the right fit. We're going to make sure that we're filling needs and we're bringing guys in that can compete and play for us. Along those same lines are high school players as well. And that's one of the things about the portal that we all have to pay attention to is, all right, how does that affect the high school players that are, ready to come in here and develop and grow and be a part of this program and start from day one as an Auburn Tiger and learn the culture and learn the ways we do things and create those habits right when they get on campus, because there's going to be guys that are older players that have habits built, and we got to find out how those habits fit into what we're doing, all right, and what do we have to do to help these guys within our program. And so what you're saying, it's a challenge, because what we're doing now is we're giving the coaches so many options. Before it was, hey, you might get a grad transfer, you might get a junior college player, you're going to go after high school players, and now you add in the transfer portal. And not knowing all the rules, you're just adding in another layer of players that you can go and sign. All right, then you got to be very specific on what it is you're looking for. And that's what we've been trying to do. I feel like we've got that down very close, but then every day there might be a new name, all right, and that creates another conversation on, well, maybe this, maybe that. And I think our staff, we've been patient. But we're also charging hard on the guys we feel like we've made connections with that fit here and that we want to sign and get into this program and really become part of the foundation of what we're building moving forward.
Next, Justin Ferguson.
Hey Brian, Justin Ferguson from the Auburn Observer. You guys kept Cadillac on, have Coach Zach Etheridge and
Yep.
also Tracy Rocker. How important is it as you as a coach being here for the first time, having guys on your staff that have been here before and have played here?
I think it's huge. Well, let me say this. Like I said, I could feel it in the conversations I had with Cadillac, with Coach Etheridge, with Coach Rocker. You feel that, I know that as a Boise State alum, I know the pride I took in playing at Boise State. I know the pride I took as a coach and being a part of that program. I understand that. I appreciate that. I embrace that. And those three in particular, as how they've been around our guys, there's no question the pride that they have for Auburn football. There's no question that these guys are going to make an impact with our current players now on what it means to be a Tiger. No doubt about it. And some of the previous coaches as well. I mean, everybody who's an alum, all right, of this program matters. And I've got a chance to get on a Zoom call and talk with a few of them. I'll do it again. But that's important to me. Being a guy that spent 22 years at a program coaching where I played at, that's important to me. And I understand that. And we want our players, our past players, to understand how important they are, all right, and to honor what they did here and to help our current players inspire those who will follow. I mean, that is important to us, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate any guys that have been a part of this program. And certainly, I think that element, when you get around the guys and they're able to ask questions and they can talk about, some of the guys like Cadillac who played here and they know the history and they know some of the things he did, it creates a great conversation. And certainly in recruiting, all right, it's not just that, hey, here's this building or here's campus or here's the stadium. They've actually been in it. They've experienced it, right? They bleed orange and blue. They understand what it takes. They know what it feels like to leave this program, all right, as champions, to leave this program with a degree from Auburn University. And so they can share that with families and players, and it's not something that's scripted. It's something that's genuine, and their pride being back here. I think a lot of coaches, when you get an opportunity to come back to your alma mater in a place like this and coach, you take tremendous pride in that.
We've got time for a few more. First up is Nathan King.
Hey, Bryan, Nathan King from Auburn Undercover. Talking about Cornelius Williams, what was it about him? He's one of the younger guys on your staff. What was it about him that made him stand out in the interview process, maybe as opposed to kind of some more older, experienced coaches?
Yeah, I think his focus. I really do. I think, that guy on the field, the focus, the coaching points, the details, those things really stood out to me. I got a chance to be around him and see that and to watch him in action. And, when you can see somebody on the field, there's one thing about getting on a board, there's one thing about getting in an interview and sitting there and answering questions and talking about who you are and, what are your philosophies in recruiting. All those things are important, but, knowing what guys do on the grass, knowing what they're going to be like with their players, knowing the type of detail they're going to coach guys with, knowing that they understand the position and playing the position and coaching the position. And Coach Brown at West Virginia, Cornelius had played for him, and I know Neil, and Neil does a great job at that wide receiver position. So all right, where guys were taught from, and some of the things that they've learned through their coaching career and the type of detail that a guy's going to bring, and you could see that with Coach Williams. And not to mention the energy, the connection piece, and then the relationship piece that he's going to have with our recruits. And then, also a little different perspective from a different style of offense that he brings to some of the things that we want to do. And so you have more knowledge in some areas where he's going to help us with the scheme and some things that he's done where hopefully that provides value for some of the things we want to do moving forward as we put this system together.
Bill Cameron.
Hey, Coach, Bill Cameron, The Drive on ESPN 106.7. You were talking about filling needs, and I know it's going to be difficult with the short time you've had to evaluate exactly what you have, but what do you feel your needs are as you head into signing day, and then do you have a certain number of spots that you probably are going to hold in case for transfers?
We can, yeah. There'll be some holds certainly, and I think that will naturally happen. I don't know if that's something that if we can sign the best guys and fill the class we want to with all the guys we want to get, then that doesn't necessarily mean we'd hold anybody. But there are going to be naturally a few spots that we do hold just based off how the process has gone. Offensive line, running back, corner, safety, defensive backfield, linebacker, D-line. Those are all areas, you name it, right? You can go down and there are needs at really every position. But like you said, it's going back, evaluating the guys that we have now. And I'll just say this, you go back, every team, and we definitely faced it here with COVID and certain things that happened during that time. Some injuries happened, some guys that opted out, some other things that went on during COVID. That also changes some of, the future of our program as guys come back or injuries, guys are going to recover from that, when they're going to be back. And so we have to look at that and really say, okay, where are we at in these areas? All right, what are the most important things we have to get done? Is it a younger tackle? Is it an older tackle? Is it a position at running back that we need to fill? What does that look like? And those are the conversations we've had. But I've felt very good about what our coaches have done with their evaluation and knowing, all right, here's where we need to go. And then going to find those guys that fit within what we've been talking about culture-wise and making that happen on the football field.
Next one is from Rocco DeSangro.
Yep.
Hey Brian, Rocco DeSangro from WHNT-TV in Huntsville. You've surrounded yourself with a ton of guys who have previous SEC experience. In those conversations that you're having with your staff members, what is the best piece of advice you've gotten about being a head coach in this conference?
Well, let me say this. You're absolutely right, and that was purposeful. There are guys that have SEC experience, all right? But I'll just say this. That's something that helps me. That's something that helps everybody on this staff. But I think we've surrounded ourselves with coaches that want to be the best. And that was something, and I want to be clear on that. Every coach that's on this staff is a competitor. Every coach on this staff wants to be the best at the position that they're coaching. They want to compete and they want to win. And that was a big part of it too. It wasn't just go find some of the voids to fill out a staff to make sure that I have some support here in this area and connections here and some experience there. It still comes down to who wants to compete and win, who wants to develop players, who wants to be a part of Auburn football. Those are the criterias that I started with. And then on top of that, all right, there's experience from these coaches. Mike Bobo's been in this league. Derek Mason's been in this league. Will Friend has been in this league. Cadillac has been in this league. Coach Rocker has been in this league. But every one of those guys, that experience is helping us. That experience is helping me. What they've been able to go through and be a part of over the years in the SEC has certainly given me a lot of information that's valuable. But at the end of the day, these guys are all here. I want them to succeed. My responsibility for our coaches is to help them develop and be the most successful coaches they can possibly be so they can share that with our players. And we're going to compete. And that starts with us as coaches. And we got to have that mindset every single day. That's that 4th and 1, that sense of urgency. Because the way I look at coaches, all they are a bunch of former players that are just coaching now. We can't play anymore. But that competitive nature hasn't left. The experience factor is really helping with what we need to do right now moving forward. Guys that have played here, that experience of, hey, being an Auburn man, all right, the things that we talk about in our program, that has helped me tremendously to have a better idea of the things that we're searching for as we bring people in here to be a part of this program. But overall, to be very clear, for me, it started with when I talk to every coach, all right, you want to be the best at what you do. You want to win, you want to compete, you want to succeed, you want to share that with your players, you want to develop those guys. That's number one, first and foremost. And then everything on top of that has really helped me develop our plan as we move forward with the things that I need to know and we need to share with our staff, and certainly what we have to get to our players and recruits to build this program the way we want to.
We got 2 more. Our first will be from Brian Matthews, and then our last one will be from Philip Marshall. Brian?
Hello, Coach. Brian with a Y. Matthews from AuburnSports.com. Nice to speak to you.
Thank you, you too.
I wanted to ask you about the workouts. You mentioned building a culture. How important are those workouts going to be starting next week? Building that culture, and what's sort of been your message to the players about what to expect from workouts and how they may be different than what they're used to?
Yeah, number one, the workouts, that's the foundation. All right, hard work, that's the foundation. All right, it all starts there. We can put together a great plan. If we don't have the work ethic behind it, there's no plan that you can put in place that's going to be successful if you don't bring it every single day. All right, if you don't have the juice every day and you're not bringing it every day, or your teammates aren't helping you bring it every day, and we're not purposely getting better and focused on what it is we're doing, the foundation that we're creating in the weight room right now will not happen. And so the message has been, all right, really what we have to do on this football team to develop ourselves. We'll have a plan, all right? One, you need to be there on time, all right? And when you show up and you're on time and you're there, there'll be a plan put in place. And when you understand the plan, you need to go execute it, all right, with tremendous effort every single day. And there's going to be tasks every day that we ask our guys to accomplish, academically, athletically, socially, all the things that we have to do in order to be successful every single day. That's been communicated. Not all those in detail, but has been communicated in the fact that there's going to be things that we have to do every day in order to be successful. And a big part of that message is just want to know. All right, and for us, what that means is we have a day in front of us. All right, we want to win that day. We need to stay focused on the things that we have to do to accomplish those tasks in a way that we are successful. And that's not just one guy, that's everybody. All right, coaches, players. And so, we've been very clear on that with that message. And right now it is focused on Auburn. It is focused on what we have to do. It is focused on the daily tasks that we're faced with, that we have to go out there and accept the challenges, all right? Do it in all the ways necessary to be successful. And very, very simple, starting with that. And that foundation that we build in that weight room is going to determine our success as we move forward, because this is football. And you build your mentality, you build your physicality, you build your discipline. All those things happen in the weight room and on that field and in conditioning. Before you go out there and cut it loose and have fun and play the game, you got to put in the work.
Our last one, Coach, is from Philip Marshall.
Coach, this is Philip Marshall from Auburn Undercover. You talked a lot about physicality, and it's obviously a physical league. In practices, how physical will practices be on a routine basis? How much like one against one kind of stuff will you do?
Yeah, well, good question. We'll get to that. Now, we've done that, and I've been a part of that in the past. I think that's extremely important to get yourself better, right? You want to compete against the best. People have said iron sharpens iron, right? We've all heard that. Well, that's a true statement, and certainly something that we'll incorporate into what we do. I think the physicality, it definitely happens in the actual action of practice and doing those things and developing that. But I think a big part of that is mentally. All right, having that mindset, and that mindset's created in the work you do. It's created in the purpose you have every single day. It's created in the determination that you have every single day for what it is you want to accomplish. And then you got to go out there and be in the right frame of mind to go be a physical player. And that takes everybody on the team. And sometimes it's not just smash mouth live football every practice. That's not how we're going to accomplish our goal. But it certainly is, and I mean that literally, but it certainly is that mindset, all right, when you go out there to compete, that we are creating that every single day in the way that we do things. And I do believe in physicality. I do believe in the work necessary to create that. And then when it's time to go cut it loose, that you're able to perform and accomplish what it is you need to be physical and to play at the level you want to play at.
All right, Coach. Thank you very much for your time today. Everyone, thank you for joining, and have a great rest of your day.
Hey, thanks everyone. War Eagle.